Not all games are here to cheer us up or provide air-punching power trips. One of the great things about modern titles, and it's something that people who don't play games can rarely understand, is that games can also be emotional. They can tell stories that engage us and give us characters we'll miss once they're gone. With that in mind, we've rounded up 9 digital tearjerkers that will have you staring blankly at your monitor and wondering what it all means. Hankies at the ready, people. Here are 9 games that are guaranteed to make you cry. The first few bits of To the Moon might make you question whether or not you fired up the correct game, with 2 bumbling, eccentric doctors bursting in on the subject of the story, Johnny. There's barely a heartbreaking moment in sight. But stick with it and you'll see why it's so effective and why it stands out as one of the best written games ever made. It's sad in the same kind of way as the best Pixar films. Never cruel or manipulative, but touching and celebratory. A wistful, brilliantly told look back at a life tinged with regret. And best of all, it's never obvious. Instead, it gently hints at things that will be revealed later on, making them all the more impactful when you finally learn the truth. Choice is hard whether or not you're a teenage girl struggling through high school, and Life is Strange knows this well. It knows it so well, in fact, that it hits you relentlessly with painfully real decisions. Tackling topics like terminal illness, murder, mental health and relationships make this sound like anything but a good time. But 16-year-old Chloe's journey is all the more powerful because of it. Sure, you'll probably end up crying, the clue to that is in the name of this list feature, but this is about surviving, the power of true friendship, and, we're going to have to say it, love.
This is ridiculous. I always get so shy and nervous around Mr. Jefferson.
We won't spoil the central conceit of Life is Strange if you haven't already played it, but it's clear that even the power to look back on your actions still can't make the perfect future. We just have to make the best of what's given to us. Even if that does sound like something that should be written on an inspirational fridge magnet. It's 2018. We've survived more zombie apocalypses than we can count on our thankfully not infected fingers. But there's one trip into undead territory that always gets us right in the feels. The Walking Dead Season 1 from Telltale Games is heartbreaking from the get-go, as survivor Lee makes his way through the end of days. For starters, finding the heroic but fragile Clementine in her treehouse, the last surviving member of her family, is like being hit with an emotional flaming truck. Then there's a meeting with the family who are faced with the decision to kill their infected son, or let you do it for them. There's no mowing down the undead with hedge trimmers or chainsaws here. Instead, Telltale's End of the World is grim, grisly and packs a series of poignant gut punches that'll leave you reeling. And yes, probably sobbing as well. Going home after some time away is meant to be a happy experience, catching up with old friends and whiling away the time eating all the food from your parents' fridge that you didn't have to buy. But that's not quite the case in Gone Home. Exploring your house after returning from college, you'll have to piece together what has happened to your family while you've been away. The sinister nature of the sounds of an empty home suggests horrifying things, but this is a story told by everyday items. Things like food in the fridge, notes on the counter, rented videotapes, pictures on the walls, and diaries. Piecing together the story will only take one sitting, but loss, relationships, and the pain of growing up are scattered throughout this normal family home. No spoilers here, but it hurts in the best possible way. Sometimes you play a game you can rattle through in 4 hours and feel cheated, and sometimes, as with Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, you spend the rest of the day staring out into space because the experience was so savagely traumatic that you have to stop and gather your thoughts. Although the actual physical process of completing Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is relatively quick, the echoes of the game and its unique, heart-rending story will stay with you forever. It's a fairy tale that thrives as a video game, and it works so well because it applies familiar themes to modern storytelling devices. Are we going to say exactly what happens, even in this spoiler-filled list of sad moments? Absolutely not. Just play it for yourself before some other, less discerning channel ruins it all for you. In most creative media, old man is shorthand for this will probably make you cry. And things are no different here. This is a wistful, soul-searching adventure designed to get your tear ducts flowing, the gaming equivalent of a particularly potent onion. Charming, cartoonish art style? Check. Genteel, folksy soundtrack? Also check. Introspective story about life, loss and hope? Check, check, and also check. As well as being beautifully crafted, Old Man's Journey features some pleasant puzzling and the most literal title in all of gaming. It's rather short, he is an old man after all, I'm not sure if we've already mentioned that, but it's beautiful enough that it'll make you want to pop outside for a stroll and feel more comfortable with aging gracefully. Even if the vanilla conclusion of the Mass Effect series didn't twang the emotional heartstrings in a way that many demanded, the third game still has a number of resonant moments. The most memorable of all, run away now if you don't want spoilers, is the departure of Mordin Solus. Scientist extraordinaire, show tunes expert, and one of the most relatable aliens ever committed to a video game. Many titles do heroic sacrifice well, but this one feels different. By this point, many players had spent entire days with Mordin. We were truly invested. And the fact it throws back to one of the most surprising and memorable moments in Mass Effect 2, probably the moment most of us fell in love with Mordin, is even more of a kicker.
I am the very model of a scientist Solarian. I've studied species Turian, Asari, and Batarian. I'm quite good at genetics as a subset of biology because I am an expert, which I know is a tautology.
My pseudoscience studies range from urban to agrarian. I am the very model of...
And if that's not enough of an emotional uppercut for you, the Citadel DLC provides an additional look back at a series that gave us so many characterful moments. You don't always need huge stories of loss and disaster to shatter your emotions. Often a small, relatable tale can be equally effective, and that's exactly the case with Night in the Woods. May might be an anthropomorphic cat, but the story of her return to a hometown that's changed while she was away still feels familiar. And although it's brave enough to deal with big subjects like mental health, relationships and responsibility, it's also really funny, which just makes the introspective moments hit even harder. If you've ever been away with work or college, you've lost touch with your family, or you just grew up in a small town, Night in the Woods will leave you feline emotional. Feline, yeah? Like a cat? Okay, maybe that wasn't appropriate. To close off this list of complete heartbreak is the beautiful and devastating Dear Esther. Wandering a windswept and lonely Hebridean island in first person, you uncover the tragic death of a man's wife in a drunk driving accident. Letters he's written her unfold as you wander across the gorgeous yet desolate moors, taking in the sights and even journeying into the spooky phosphorescent caves beneath the island's surface. It isn't just the words that will get you here though, although the painful normalisation of loss will certainly have you sobbing. It's also the score from Chinese room director Jessica Curry, which is perfect, poignant, and will deconstruct your heart with every bittersweet note. Still with us? Need a tissue or anything? Honestly, it's okay. Take your time. Before you go and watch another video to cheer yourself up, let us know in the comments which games hit you in the feels. Drop us a tear-stained like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Logitech G for more weekly shows and features.